Hello and welcome to another episode of Good Clean Gaming. I'm your host Jalindo, and today we're playing more of Banished. And I tried to take a little time and think about what I could have been doing wrong, and I came up with a couple things, Number one, normally I build more than one gatherer's hut, and this time I was really trying to rush into the market part of the game, and I feel like now that may have been a mistake. So I'm going to set up a woodcutter. I'm going to pause the game real quick. Set up a woodcutter right here. Well, let's set up the forester first. Forester goes right about, I guess right about here would be fine. I'll pin that so I can see it. I'm going to set up another gatherer over here. Put a road in front of that so I can line it up properly. Something like that. I'm going to put a gatherer next door. And then next door to that, I'm going to put a woodcutter. Like that. I'm going to pause the woodcutter and I'm going to pause the forester's lodge because I want them to build the gatherer's hut first. We do have enough material to build this gatherer's hut, so there's no problem there. I am going to also add, since we have the woodcutter here, I will also add the storage barn right across the street. Excuse me, the stockpile. He'll want the stockpile close by. There's the end, right there. So that'll be 6 by 10, and I'm going to add a storage barn right next door to that. Ta-da! And then the forester will load stuff into the stockpile, the gatherer's hut will load stuff into the storage barn, and the woodcutter will load stuff in, take stuff from the stockpile and then load it into the storage barn. I probably could have laid that out slightly better, but eh. Next we will have another road in front of that. And just throw down a couple of houses. We're going to have 2 down here. Right about there and right about there. Ta-da! So we're gonna also, I've took a look around. I realized that we're heading for a real old age issue. We're having a lot of people who are aging and not having children. So if you look at these guys should have moved out a long time ago, and they couldn't because there's no houses. So while we're focusing on recovering from our food and wood situation, we're also going to be focusing on recovering from our housing situation. So we're going to build another area down here for more gathering. Figure gatherers are probably the most efficient way to get out of this situation that we're in. We'll place him right about out there. So gatherer will put stuff in the storage barn. Woodcutter will put stuff in the in the stockpile. Forester will put stuff in the stockpile as well. So we're gonna put a road right in front of this gatherer's hut. Next door will be our forester. And next door will be our woodcutter. Why are we doing woodcutters like this? Because one thing I'm going to try to eliminate, and I'm going to try out, because I've never actually tried this before, but if a person has to go a long way just to get firewood from, the central market area, I figure that's something they're going to do fairly frequently. They're not going to get coats all that frequently or tools all that frequently, but they're going to get firewood and food pretty frequently. And I'd like to see if it makes things a little more efficient if I have a nearby woodcutter. I'm going to also have the storage barn right across the street here, and then stockpile right there. Again, road behind it. It's just such an effective layout, there's no reason to really deviate from it right now. And 2 houses. Pause the storage barn. Leave the gatherers hut and the houses unpaused, and we'll get to them as we can. That's a lot of stuff to build. currently we have an excess of laborers, but if we don't fix the housing situation, we're gonna eventually have a problem with labor. You can just see it coming. I wish there was a nice way to see average age on the town hall. Families, adults. There's not an average age or anything, or any kind of indication of age. Cool. So that's there. We'll keep this thing up with the graph of food, just so we can see when we recover from that fully. We're gonna want to trade once we get a trader. We're gonna want to probably trade in leather. We seem to have an excess of that right now. We have plenty of coats for now, so leather seems to be the way to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and have him tug over some leather. Where's my leather? Right there. 350? That sounds good. And we're gonna let this time start going a little bit. At 10x speed, that's a little bit, right? Another thing we're going to want to do, I'll go ahead and lay it out, but I'll pause it. I want to have a mine. And I think based on where the Forester's Lodge is and where the market is, that if I can fit it right in this little corner, and I'm going to pause this, but if I can fit this right about here, please fit. Right there. If I can fit that right there. Pause, pause. No one work on that. And I'll just get to that later as I have some time. Server food is low. Yes, it's always low. We know this. And another thing I need is a quarry, because we're having to go a long way for surface material now. And I think it'll be a lot more efficient if we can just get something to fit right about here. I'm fitting it here because I feel like I want it close enough to the market where they can get to it. And this seems to be the only wide open area that I saw. Trading post. We have 170 leather in there currently. He's trading wool coats. I don't want wool coats. He can go away. Go away. Dismiss. Oh, need to pause this too before they get distracted. Now let's keep an eye on our little builder areas. Nothing's happened so far. Another thing we'll probably want to do is make sure we follow around our laborers and make sure they're not doing something silly. Our herbs have not recovered, so that's going to be an issue. We'll get there. Everybody seems to be working. I'm going to go ahead and increase the priority of these buildings and of these buildings. Hopefully that'll get somebody's attention. I'm going to try not to do anything else until we get some action on those. Looks like that's yeah, looks like they're very, very excited about building these areas suddenly. We have 44 adults, 6 students, and 2 children. That's a huge red flag. That 2 children, incredibly huge red flag. Shows that we haven't been having kids in the past, like, at least 4 years of game time. So these houses hopefully will help a lot. Oh, good. I get the "You're Gonna Die Soon" music in the background. Thank you, game. That's comforting. At least I can look down at the bottom left and say, hey, we've actually got some raw materials to use for this. Once these buildings are built, I will build out the road. I want them to focus on the buildings before the road. And typically, if you build a road, they're going to focus on the road first. There we go. And we got immediate move in. Hopefully they'll start having kids and help try to fix our little situation. Several of our students have just graduated, so we have a great workforce right now. Maybe not so much in the near future if we're not careful. There's the foundation of the next house. Where are our builders? Picking up resources, picking up resources. With it being in the middle of winter, they may be too cold to make it all the way over there to build. Oh, they're building. They're building. We're good. Next, we want this gatherer's hut to be built. We definitely want them to get on this thing down here. Foundations laid. Okay, next, storage barn seems appropriate for that, to support that gatherer's hut, so I'll have the laborers focus on that a little bit. One thing I wish I could do in this game, if at some point there's a mod that'll be able to do it, I would love to be able to see like a priority queue for each villager, just to see what they're thinking about. I want to get in, I'd like to see the thoughts of these villagers, just to know, you know, why did you do that? I sometimes have this situation where I'm like, why in the world did you choose to do what you just did? And I have no way of knowing. Oh, we're missing a storage barn down here. I have no way of knowing that because there's no way to see it. That just may be the analyst in me, but it's always good to be able to see the underlying cause and things like that. I'm gonna build a schoolhouse down here as well. Ooh, look at our food. We're actually recovering here. Everything seems to be fully stocked. This is awesome. Awesome possum. Gatherer's hut's gonna have. Let's keep 2 down here. And how many do we have in the other ones? We have 1 there out of 4. Let's keep 2 in that one as well. And do we have another gatherer's hut? We already have another gatherer's hut. Wow, 2 in that one. Oh, oops. Yeah, 2 in this one. And increase gatherers to 6. We're gonna have tons of food in a minute. Let's unpause that storage barn so they get to work on that. Yeah, why not? Let's unpause all of these. Lots of stuff to do. Where can we trim out some of the extras here? We have 8 fishermen. We don't want to mess with food till we really get. That's a great trend line. That's what we want to see. We could start backing off the fishermen soon and just use them as surge capacity. We just leave the docks up, and then if we ever run into the situation again, we just throw out a bunch of fishermen. And there won't be an overfishing problem. It'll just be a, population issue at worst. Reserve of stone is low. Ooh, this will be a good time also to build these guys out. We're out of stone. That's why we're building the quarry. I feel like this stuff, right near a stockpile down here, is perfect timing to do this. Okay, that's enough. Had a big dip there. That's interesting. I guess that may be when did a house get completed? Nope, it's not that. Children being born, that's a good sign. This is going better. Yeah, well, we've been going 15 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and break it, but I feel like we're on the mend. We're actually starting to build again. And that's a really good sign. So we're going to keep this going and see if we can't get some more expansion going. Maybe get some crops, some seeds, some orchards, some pastures, all kinds of stuff like that. Hopefully now we can actually do that. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. And you guys have a good one. Keep it clean, and we will, surprisingly enough, see you next time.